So let's chat about food labeling. Um, Food labeling, it can be quite confusing and quite overwhelming, but just a few simple things that for you to know when you go to the supermarket and you're checking, the labels of things. So you could pick up a tin of, say, canned tomatoes and a different brand, and one of them will say tomatoes and water, and the other one will say tomatoes and three or four other ingredients that just don't even need to be in your stomach. So when I'm looking at labels, my general rule is, do I know what it is? Is there any numbers on the label? Because numbers are all your food additives and your colors and things like that. And remember that your body doesn't recognize synthetic agents. So whatever those synthetic agents are, they're not going to serve your body well. Your body is going to, your liver and your kidney are going to need to process and get them out. Sometimes so we can have leaky gut as well. And when we've got leaky gut, it just means that basically our gut lining, like some of the membranes and stuff, are pulled apart and things can seep through instead of going down into our digestive system and through our kidneys and our liver. And so when that happens, things like autoimmune diseases happen and so much bad stuff. So we just need to be really, really careful about what we're putting into our bodies. So if you don't know what an ingredient is, it can be pretty evident that it's not going to be something that your body's going to know what it is either. So just being really mindful when you're reading labels and you see a whole heap of numbers on there, you know that that's not going to be great. And there's always ways to just quickly whip up your own. I do love my Thermomix because I can just whip things up in there. You can do things in a blender as well. But making things from scratch is honestly the easiest way, and you don't need to make a heap from scratch to, be able to continue eating some of the things that you love. So when you have a look at the packaging, I'm just going to read here. The Health Star system is basically designed to give you an at a glance overall, is this healthy for me? The star ratings. But basically, the foods are rated from a half star to 5 stars depending on their composition of healthy nutrients compared to risk nutrients. So basically 7 nutrients are taken into account when a company uses the Health Star calculator to determine their own rating. Points are deducted for energy, so calories, saturated fat, sugar and salt, and points are added for fruit and veggie content, for protein and for fiber. Sugars naturally occurring in foods are not differentiated from added sugar either. Basically, the star rating means nothing. So it's just basically the consumer looks at it and goes, this must be good, and grabs it. So companies are very, very clever with what they put in their foods so they can get a higher energy rating, a higher star rating, but they may have some really nasty things in there as well. So the Health Star rating is also voluntary. So, like things like wraps and things like that, they can have the 5 stars. A lot of them have the 5 stars, but most of them are filled with like vegetable oils, which are highly bad for us. Vegetable oils, that's another healthy habit tip for you. Vegetable oils cause a large amount of inflammation in the body. So if I see vegetable oil in things, I mostly just steer clear of it because I know it's not good for me. But wraps and things like that also have multiple sugars and various salts and things in there as well. So they're not that great for you, but they'll have a 5-star rating. So that's just an example for you. So they don't take into account how natural a product is either. So food additives and observed and confirmed additives are not taken into account in the system at all when it comes to the ratings. So just remember that as well. Let me have a look here. So it's, what can you take from this? So basically the Health Star rating isn't compulsory. So companies only do it if they can manipulate things enough to be able to get a higher rating. Not all packaged foods then are rating, so you don't get an overall idea of what is actually healthy food. There's no fresh whole fruit or veggies will have the labeling because they're exempt from it, but they are healthy. Food additives, chemical and natural, are not considered in the ratings. And food additives are one of the worst things for us. They're not even considered in the ratings. And processing is not considered in the rating either, which can largely affect, the quality of the food. So they're kind of all alarm bells for you. And just a few things to think about when you're looking at foods. But, I'm always looking for, foods. When I look on the back, I'm looking for things that I can recognize as actual foods. And I'm looking for how many numbers there are on the labels. And if there's any at all, I basically never really get it. You can compare, as I said before, a tin of tomatoes, and they could be similar price, or even just, the one that's better for you can be even less sometimes. I've noticed a lot of the time it is. Probably because they don't have to put all these chemicals in. So you're probably going to end up with the cheaper option. Usually it's not the cheapest though. Usually the cheapest ones for some reason aren't that great for you. It's usually those middle of the range, which I've been finding, but not always. So, just having a look at your labels and just understanding that, it's not normal to have those things in your food. And I think the biggest thing for me was that I was like, they won't put things on the shelf that aren't good for us. Yes, they do. And I think that's the thing that's pissed me off the most, is there is things on our shelves that can harm us, which is crazy and so disappointing, I guess. So just know that you as the consumer needs to be the one that's checking it. You as the consumer needs to be the one that is taking responsibility of what you put into your body, because this world, a lot of things is all about money and power. And I've really learnt that, cleaning chemicals and, even what we build our new homes with now, and foods, they are not really that regulated. Beauty products, all of it. We really have to do our own research. So I'll give you some more posts and everything on all of this, so you've got more visuals and things like that. Basically, it's with everything. I'm just having a look at everything. Things like our breakfast cereals and things like that. So Just Right, for example, has 9.2 grams of sugar per serving. And they believe that there's 19 servings in that small box of Just Right. There is not 19 servings. It's a 750 gram box, so that's 9.2 grams of sugar in approximately every 40 grams of cereal, along with all the other added ingredients on the side. So things like Just Right, and people think they're eating healthy because they're not eating Cocoa Pops, which is not healthy either. They think that they're eating healthy, and it's really just criminal. So, yeah, just understanding that you're not going to be able to look at a product, look at the stars and pick wisely. You're going to have to understand a little bit about the labels, and I'm going to help you out a little bit. And I've got some good, alternatives like Swap This for That as well that will be coming up. So you'll be able to find some really good healthy alternatives, or healthier alternatives that are out there. And there's some really, really good brands, and you don't have to spend a fortune. And you can always make your own from scratch too. So that's a little intro to reading labels, and I hope it hasn't freaked you out too much, because I know for me it actually really did throw me off a little bit that we would have those things on our shelves that can cause behavioral problems in our children, can cause, I don't want to say the C word, but can cause damage to our cells, can cause autoimmune diseases, can cause gut disruption majorly. Basically can make us really unhealthy, can make us sick. So I've been quite angry about it, but my way to curb that anger is to start educating people on it and to make some good choices instead. So I hope that intro has helped you out a little bit, and there'll be more for you to learn from.